Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at another video for you guys, and I am back for the final time talking about My Happy Marriage. I know this was a video long time coming. This video should have came out in the springtime, but it never did. Now let's rewind all the way back to around springtime, March/April of 2025 this year, because now we're in September. We were headed into the final episodes of season 2 of My Happy Marriage, and then Netflix basically announced that the show was going to go on a bit of a delay, and it was going to probably be a 1 week delay. And then they delayed it another week, and then another week, and then another week. Now, the Japanese Netflix, they posted they at some point, like I think first or second week of April, I don't remember, it was so long ago, right? They posted the final 2 episodes of My Happy Marriage. Now, as to why the international version didn't get it that early, I have no clue. I think the international version, international's Netflix, out here in the West and other countries, they ended up getting the last 2 My Happy Marriage episodes, I think damn near end of May, end of April, early May. I don't really remember. They released it, and they did again. One of those silent releases where they don't bring it up at all. They don't put it on their social media page at all, saying like, hey, for people who are into My Happy Marriage, it is back for the final 2 episodes of the season. You can go stream them now. Like, it was one of those silent releases that they did not tell you shit about, right? They just silently drop it, and they act as if nothing's happening, right? That's what Netflix did. And if you watch my Flagrant Flower Blooms of Dignity review from last night, I basically talked about how Netflix as of late has been handling their fucking animes like dog shit. Again, I always highlight Pokemon's handled poorly since they have the streaming rights for Pokemon now. Flagrant Flower Blooms of Dignity, that's just been a complete shit show. And the fact that next week on September 7th, we're only getting the first 2 episodes when we've already gotten fucking 9 episodes up to this point. And I already talked about in that review why they just can't upload the first 8 episodes dubbed and then just have a weekly simulcast release date. I have no fucking clue. And this kind of started the tail end of My Happy Marriage started with Netflix really having these, bad decisions and reverting back to what they used to do when it came to handling animes that ended up becoming a non-fan favorite. And realistically, from this moment of the delays, right? So far, any anime they've acquired, especially a big one, they just haven't handled properly, right? So this, and then you go into Flagrant Flower, and really that's just the fact that they just want to have a fucking dub. Why? No fucking clue. But the demographics say more people are into English dubs than sub versions, especially on their platform, right? Or mostly just in modern generation. This is just anime just as a whole. More people are watching dubbed content more than sub content. Again, I'm a dub only. Well, I'm not a dub only. I watch English dubs for anime, right? So it makes 100% right. 9 out of 10 people, they'll probably watch the show in their native tongue. The only people, which is a small minority of people, is now the sub people. And those people typically are sub elitists. And when they hear the dub voice, or maybe they're like, same as me, sub and dub, but they're critical of the dub with the way it sounds because they just have a preference of the sub version. Regardless, right? But it just baffles me that for this show that was going basically into its final season, because it came out like even weeks before or during the weeks, they're doing another My Happy Marriage show, like another remake of the show, which I don't know when that show's gonna come out. Honestly, I guess that's fine. I'm probably not going to review it because I already talked about My Happy Marriage. Like, if they're just going to remake it again, then, what's the fucking point in re-reviewing it again? Like, you want my take of certain points of the story that I've already seen before? Like, no. Personally, if you ask me, I would rather them do a season 3 I don't know if there was any more source material content to adapt that's after this Usui arc, or that was just where the author's like, okay, that's it. You know, we basically kind of get the basis. They're gonna live happily ever after, right? But it would have been cool, in my personal opinion, if there was a season three. Maybe they have to deal with one more threat, right? And that's it. And then maybe you get a time skip to when, you know, they're obviously older and then they have a kid. Personally, I kind of do wish like the last episode of this season did do a flash forward. You know, where we do got like we see their wedding and then on top of it, maybe we get we get a time skip to where maybe like 10 years, 5, 10 years had passed, right? And they already are living happily together. They got a kid that they're raising together, and you know that's basically it. And you can write off their story, and you can have it to where maybe Mio's teaching their new son, you know, their new kid, you know, the abilities of Dream Sight, because that would be the next thing to pass down in their family lineage, right? So, which mind you, their kid would be very OP, not only with Kudo's abilities, but Mio's Dream Sight ability, especially if it's granted to said child. My God, like you're talking about a prodigy of a fucking kid, right? But that's my take, you know. I don't know why they decided to do another remake of the show, especially with the fact that this show did really well. I think it did really well on Netflix. But personally, like I said, I would rather would have seen a season three as opposed to another remake. But I'll probably watch the remake to see how good it is. I'm not going to talk about it or anything, so regardless. Anyways, this video was a long time fucking coming. Because the delays, obviously, and then I was reviewing other stuff at the time and on top of work, because at that point in time, it was actually, even though it's still a new job for me, right? I'm gonna essentially eventually hit, in about maybe 4 or 5 months, I'm gonna hit my 1 year, essentially, anniversary of me getting my job, right? But at that point in time, I was getting situated into my new job and everything, so that's why the review did not happen. And I always told myself I need to watch the My Happy Marriage episodes, the last two My Happy Marriage episodes, so I can review it, upload the video on the channel, and upload the review on the channel, so then I can be able to talk about it. And next thing you know, like freaking 4 months later in September, September 1st, here you go. So anyways, let's get to it. So if you remember last week, or the last time we ever talked My Happy Marriage, Miyo basically, with the help of the army, decided to raid Usui's base so she could go in an attempt to save Kudo. She ended up actually going and finding Kudo, and she ended up saving him. But then the last episode before we went on that delay break, what is it? They ran into Arata and Usui. So this is where this episode picks up right here, which is season 2, episode 12, titled Feelings Beyond Dreams. So this is where you have the final confrontation, the final battle against Usui. So essentially, Kudo tells Mio, hey, stand to the side, let me take care of this, right? So Kudo's going up against Usui. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's see this thing, right? Also, too, I did actually watch on a pirate website the 2 episodes early. I did never watch the episode dubbed. So this was my first time watching the episode dubbed. So I already knew what happened and everything. So regardless, right? But anyways, in this fight between Kudo and Usui, it's kind of realistically, in a weird way, one-sided. Like, at first it starts kind of even match, but then this is when Usui starts using his hidden gift abilities, right? His basically illusion stuff. And it's like, there's many times where he, like, cuts, you know, Kudo and, you know, he slashes him. But, like, this one time, like this one attack, he slashed him across his chest, right? But Usui was like, yeah, see, that's actually an illusion, you know, and we find out, like, he actually can affect their senses, or his opponent's senses, which is absolutely wild. Again, kind of similar to that of Aizen, right? But, like, because of he's affecting Kudo's senses, it's making it, Kudo's acting as if he did get cut, and he has a cut across his chest, right? And he's bleeding out. But then when obviously you see it, like, he has no scar, right? He was not cut. And Usui's just taunting him, saying like, see, you think you got a freaking cut. yeah, no, no, that's good, that's good. I got you now. And then that's when he starts to kind of get the upper hand on Kudo. He does actually give some actual attacks on him where he does cut him up. Like there's one time he actually slices him across his back and everything. And the thing is, Mio wants to help, but Arata's there and he's like, and he's pointing the gun at her, and he's like, sorry, but you can't do this. And it gets to a point where he's using Usui's using basically his mind effery attack, right? And he's making him, or Kudo, see, Mio die to these grotesqueries, right? And it's like a freaking nightmare. And Mio's like, I gotta do something, right? So then she unleashes her power of dream sight, right? Usui sees this, and then essentially we are in Mio's dream world, the dream sight world, I guess you can say, the plane, right? Um, Mio in her kimono outfit, or in her shrine maiden outfit, I guess you can say, her dream sight maiden, I guess, clothes, right? Basically comes down like a damn angel before Kudo. Basically wipes away all the darkness. Basically, reconnects with Kudo. Kudo asks like, "Where are we?" And he's like, and she's like, we're in my dream sight world, right?" Arata is obviously there, as well as Usui, and Usui's like, "Well, look at this. You've unlocked the powers of dream sight. This is amazing." And he starts laughing evilly and everything. And this is when Mio tries to do the Taka no Jutsu type of stuff, right? She tries to basically tell him like, "Hey man, look, what you're doing is wrong. Like, stop this, stop all this, destruction, this pain and this suffering, that you're doing, that you're creating for other people, right? It's just not right. And this is not what my mother would want from you to do, right? And I think I know deep down you can change your ways and everything." Now Usui is like, you're trying, it's not gonna work. Like, why are you trying to do this? But then she ends up going in, right? And then she actually kind of does what her mom did all those years ago to Usui, and that's slap him, right? I think her mom in their flashback, she did slap him at some point. So like mother like daughter here. Again, correct me in the comment section if I was wrong about that. But she slaps Usui, basically saying, again, like basically begging, like, please stop this, Usui. Like, this is not what my mother wanted. And Usui's like, shut the fuck up, bro. What do you know about me and your mom? And she's like, I saw the flashbacks. I saw the relationship you two had. I saw that you were in love with my mother. And you feel like what you're doing is, the right thing to do for my mother. But knowing my mom was here, right here, she would be very disappointed that you become the person you are today, and she would not appreciate and like the person you are, right? And she's just trying to convince him to like basically just give up, more than likely turn himself in, and just say like, you're right, this is not what your mom raised me to be. And even Mio does say like, look, I'm doing this for my mother's sake. Please don't trample on my mother's feelings or anything. And Mio does say like, look, it doesn't change the fact, about us though. I won't forgive you for what you have done, right? Which I thought was really cool of Mio to notice, because it's like, yeah, she's doing this and she's trying to get him to snap back into his old self and realize like all this shit isn't worth it, and that, somebody that you had a deep connection with will be very disappointed in you taking the stance you're taking, right? And I did appreciate the fact where she did say like, look, regardless of that fact, once this is all over, I'm not going to forgive what you have done. You hurt people close to me. You've hurt the one that I truly love, and you've hurt a lot of other innocent people that never deserved it when you started doing this gifted communion stuff, right? So she tries to reconcile with him, but Usui just ain't having it. He is just like, no, fuck this shit. I'm done. I don't have time for this bullshit. Now hold on a quick second, guys. Laundry. Anyways, as I was saying, because of this, Usui just rebels back again, right? But then you have it to where Sumi shows down, I guess because she's in the and in the dream site world, so it would make sense that her presence would be there now. Usui's like, Sumi, again, she erases, you know, most of the dark stuff that was wrapping around Kudo and Usui, or Kudo and Miyo. And basically, Sumi's like, Usui, what have you done? Right? And basically, Usui is basically saying, like, look, I'm doing this for you. Like, I'm gonna create this new world for you where I take everybody down. I can create this new ideal world, not only for you, but for Mio, right? And Sumi is just like, you still don't get it, do you? Right? I only did what I did, which was best for, our family. And that's what I saw you as. I saw you as family. That's how much you mean to me. And this is when Usui's like, see, it's always you in this damn family. And he basically goes on to essentially say, like, was it the same family? And, in the Saimoris that cared for you? No, they didn't. I was the one that cared for you. He was basically talking like, bro, you keep talking about all this family stuff and everything, right? And you keep bringing it up, but you don't understand. You keep talking about family, yet you got married into a family that didn't really care about you, but I did care about you. And this is when Sumi's like, well, I'm just gonna revoke your right. Like, your title, it doesn't need it to come anymore, right? The title of basically kind of him being her shield, right? Her protector. She basically is like, you don't need that title anymore. It is what it is. I'm removing that title from you. You've done all you can, right? And in a weird way, this kind of upsets Usui. So he kind of stabs himself to get himself out of the dream world, right? So we get back to the real world, right? And see the situation becoming dire, right? And Usui looks like he's about to go absolutely unhinged and go crazy and leash this crazy evil attack. But then you have it to where Mio takes away or uses her abilities to make his knife disappear. Then you have it to where Arata shoots Usui. Now, I forgot to mention, early in the episode, Mio was kind of about to pass out, but then it was kind of her dream side ability making her see the future, seeing that Aruto is going to shoot Usui at some point, but Usui is going to throw a dagger at him, and it was going to hit them. Like, he was going to give him a headshot, and then he was going to take the freaking knife as a headshot, and she was going to die. Now, maybe because of everything that happened, it changed the fate, it changed the future, and everything, right? But Aruto shot him in basically basically the rib area. Probably hit a vital organ because he did like end up bleeding out and dying out, right? But Aruto did get that dagger, but he got it basically in his chest, probably missing his heart, right? So because of it, the fight is over. Usui ends up in his final, air lot or final, breaths. He sees Sumi come before him, looking to take his hand. Now it's implied like as if he went to fucking heaven. Now, personally, again, I'm a man who has beliefs of heaven and hell and everything, right? Right. Personally, if you ask me, ain't no fucking way that guy went to fucking heaven, bro. Ain't no way he went to heaven. Now, in layman's terms, this is anime world, right? So, in anime world, there probably is no hell, right? In anime realms, unless you're like absolutely despicable, right? Maybe it's kind of like, oh well, in anime worlds, even if somebody is evil, somebody that was influential that went up to heaven, right, can bring somebody up to heaven, right? With them, right? Despite all the bad stuff that they did do over time, right? So, there was that. But you get my drift, right? You get my understanding, you get my drift. She took him out, but personally, if you ask me, he probably went to fucking hell for all like crying out loud with everything he fucking did. Right? But Sumi takes him up, he dies. Arata is A-okay and everything. But that's basically it of this episode. Again, episode 12 was crazy, to say the least. It was a very intense episode and very intense conclusion. It was a very intense conclusion to the final battle against Usui. So, the final episode of My Happy Marriage has it to where you get some resolutions there. Now, Kudo stands before the army's like main head, right? And he's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna let you know, I'm resigning." And dude is like, "Wait, why? Like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna need a replacement, a substitute." And he's like, "Yeah." And it's gonna be Goto. He's gonna be my replacement. And dude is like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Look, when I was gone and I was captured, he led the force to the utmost best ability. So I'm putting my 100% trust in him, and that's what's gonna happen." Which, you know, hey, that's a good solid choice. I would think like, okay, he's not as strong as Kudo, right? But he definitely did show like he could lead the people, the troops, right? Now the main commander, he doesn't feel like that's a good idea, but basically we know that's what happened. He ended up resigning and stuff like that, right? So yeah. Now, Mio goes to see Arata in the hospital room, and she was peeling oranges. Arata does make a funny comment, like, honestly, I do enjoy this, but but if I enjoy this a little bit too much, I might just want to stay hospitalized, all the time. I look again, I don't personally blame him. Mio's a cute girl. You got a cute girl giving you and taking care of you. Who wouldn't? What type of guy wouldn't want that, right? But anyways, that's the thing. Now, Mio does ask him like, so why did you exactly join up with Usui and join the gifted communion? Like, I'm sorry, but I need to get down to the bottom of that. And that's when Arata basically explains like what happened. He's like, look, Prince Takahito, he came up to me and he let me know that like calamity was coming, and basically referring to Usui. And basically Arata's like, look, I did what was in my best interest to do what I needed to do to get closer to him and figure out. I'm sorry that I did what I did, and I know I hurt you, but that was kind of the thing right there, and I had to do what I had to do. Now he does say, like, the reason why Usui tried to make him join is because I think I mentioned this in one of my other episode reviews about when it comes to the show, is the fact that Usui did see bits and pieces of him in Arata. And again, I think I made a mention of saying like, yeah, Usui completely probably could see that, because he's like, look, man, you need to go get Mio from this Kudo. Like, don't let Mio slip from your hands like I let Sumi slip. Like, Mio should be yours to have, not because, especially the fact that you know her, you know about the dream side stuff. You can be her protector. You can be her lover. I failed to do that, but you can, right? So that's the thing. But the thing is, he goes on to say that he only focused on people in his bloodline, and he disagreed with anybody else that didn't have in his bloodline. So basically Arata used that as a way to get in his good graces, because he knows because he knows, like, okay, he's not going to ignore family. Like, people in his family lineage, he would actually give them a chance. But yeah, but that's the thing, and he also made his mind of like, at some point he was going to strike him down. Now, that's the thing. Now, I do like the fact that he does ask he's like, hey, look, for me attacking Kudo, Kudo, please, I ask for forgiveness. And she does forgive him for that, and stuff like that. But she does say like, look, I know, like, I forgive you, but I don't want to experience that ever again. Okay? Like, I never want, I never want to basically be reminded of that moment again. Because remember, that was a dark moment for Mio. Like, to her, it felt like she got everything taken away from her. So the fact like he even did get forgiven from her, like, it does says enough, right? The fact that it shows you how caring and compassionate Mio is, at willing to give second chances. But again, she does say like, look, don't do something like that again, to where it makes me put me in that theme. And she does go on to say like she wished things had ended differently without Usui having to lose his life. But again, I'm honestly of the opinion, like, I understand Miyo's whole point there, but I don't, Usui was probably somebody that she could probably never save. Like, sometimes there's just people out there you just can't save, and you just can't change for the better. Like, yes, you want to see them like change for the better, but then it's like, they're not going to change because they have their own set in stone beliefs, and layman's term, they're just basically too damn hard headed to not want to change for the better. And there's nothing you can realistically do for that, right? So yeah, but that's kind of the thing there. Um, Now Kudo shows up, and basically he's leaving with Mio, and basically Mio just like, I'll be sure to visit you later, right? Now Mio ends up going with Hazuki and then Kudo's mom, right? Her soon to be mother-in-law, right? And they were actually going out for, along with their maid, right? Um, Basically ended up going out to go shop for Mio's new wedding dress, right? Because she's gonna be married soon, right? Now it was a cool. It's a nice motherly daughterly thing. They end up picking out a dress, and Mio starts to get very emotional, and she starts to cry. Now, Kudo's mom is like, I don't understand why you're crying over this. Like, why are you crying over just a wedding dress? And Hazuki basically is like, well, mother, I got it on good authority that when father took you to to go get you, when father took you to pick out your wedding dress, and once you picked it out, you were crying profusely about that. Which, it was funny to hear that, because Hazuki freaking saying that. It was funny because it shows like the mother is definitely a tsundere, right? So she ended up getting all flustered, She ended up getting all flustered. She's like, "Oh, shut up." Obviously, when we started off the show with the mom, I definitely hated the mom, right? But as the show went on, the mom started to become a little bit more likable character. Kudo and Mio had like, I guess, a lunchtime thing, and he's like, "Look, apologies for that. I'm so sorry that, the thing." But Mio's like, "Oh, no, no, it's good. I enjoyed being around them and enjoyed being my time." Now, Prince Takahito's men showed up, and they wanted to speak with Mio, and basically said, "Look, we understand you guys are getting married, but we have a request. If you may be able to, come to the palace and maybe help out in aiding like people with special abilities, right? Especially if your dream set abilities. But look, I understand, what's been going on and everything. Like, just give us our answer sometime soon, right?" So that's the thing, right? So yeah, and we do get that conversation where Takahito talks alone with Mio, and basically he's like, "Hey, so what's the whole thing?" And Mio gives her reasoning of why, and it's kind of the whole thing is like she doesn't want to be a part of that because she wants to be with the person she loves, which is Kudo, right? And she wants to live a happy, peaceful life with him. And Takahito is like, I can respect that. And I 100% think that is what's best. So you two have a good, happy marriage, right? Which, pun entirely intended for the show, right? Also, Kudo does talk to, Kudo does talk to Goto about him filling in. Now, Goto's like, "You sure you want me to do this?" He's like, "Look, you led us to victory. I'm okay with that, right?" And he's like, "Well, okay, if that's what you want." And then he then does tell Mio like, "Hey, I'm quitting being the commander." And she's like, "But why? Like, isn't this what you wanted to do?" And Kudo gets honest, and he's like, "No, I actually never wanted to be a part of the army. Like, that was never a goal or a plan of mine in my life to do." But he basically says, like, now that he's realized he's got her to protect now, and the fact that he wants to have all these moments with her, and the fact that Mio being in his life changed him, he's starting to value the fact of like, because he saw like this gave Mio some bother in terms of like him always going away and everything, and plus the fact like he would be gone for basically the entire damn day, right? So you'd barely see her. It's like kind of like the thing of like him going to work then coming back. By the time it's like Mio probably making him dinner, or Yuri, either Mio or Yuri making him dinner, and that's basically it. He eats, maybe says hi, talks with Mio for a bit, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna go sleep. You have a good night, right? But now the fact that after being in this incident with Usui, he realizes, I think, he's realized he wants to be more of a factor in Mio's life, and he wants to be there every step of the way, right, for her. So that's the thing. But we then get the final scene. Oh, yeah, we do get the final scene between of the show where it's Dave's leading up to their wedding, right? And basically Kudo gives Mio a present, and this present is a new hairpin, right? That she can put in her hair. Um, and essentially she puts it in her hair and everything. It looks really adorable. He says like she looks beautiful. So this man's getting a little bit more frisky. She also ends up giving Kudo a new hair tie for him, um, and basically he puts it on, and she compliments him, and he goes on to say like when he was held captive, when he was kidnapped or in prison, he missed Mia more than anything, and that the fact like he could not stand being apart from her and not being able to be worried. But he goes on to say like now that he's now completely with her, he doesn't have to feel as worthless as he does. And he basically says like legitimately, he's her or she is his everything for living, and the fact is like he can't live without her essentially, right? He goes on to basically propose formally saying like, hey, will you marry me? Mio looks into his eyes, and she obviously starts to tear up, and she says, yes, I would love to marry you. um and basically this is when she starts to call him Kyoka, because she's like, I love you, my Kyoka. um and that's kind of where it happens. Well, I guess a few, maybe a week had passed by, and essentially, that's kind of the whole thing. Kudo, basically is like, hey, I was thinking, like, maybe now that we're gonna be living this new life together, we could plant a cherry blossom tree here. And she's like, yeah, that'd be nice, right? And that's basically it. You get your credits, and then you do get a nice art image of them together, right? And everything, right? And also in the scene, she's not calling him Lord Kudo anymore. She's formally calling him by his first name, Kyoka, which shows that no, this woman is in love with him, and she is now okay with calling him by his first name, because obviously, in Japan, it's an affectionate type of stance. It means somebody special. If you're calling somebody by their first name in Japanese standards, that means that's somebody really special to you, right? So yeah. My only thing about the ending to the show that I do wish we did see was I wish we did see the actual wedding. And now that we're like months, clearly months, down the road, we never did get an OVA episode covering their wedding. Like, I don't know how this show could not end off with them, at the altar, getting married, them looking at each other. Obviously, Kudo's family and other, people that were close to Mio, and everything, like her family, like Arata and her grandfather were there at the wedding ceremony. I wish we did see that. Like, okay, if you weren't gonna give us a time skip into the future where, oh, 5, 10 years had passed, they're already married, they have a kid, yada yada yada, right? At least I feel like the anime dropped the ball on giving us the wedding. Now, if in the original source material, if there was never a wedding ceremony, okay, fine. But I kind of wish like the anime enhanced the. Hold on, guys. Sorry for that, but as I was saying, I wish the anime, even if it was an anime only type of thing, they showed the wedding that they had, and that's how you end the show off. Especially the fact that the show's titled "My Happy Marriage," right? Like, geez Louise, like you could have literally had it at the altar, dude, saying like, "Do you two wish to live a happy marriage, forever to the end of till both of you are dead," right? And they could both say yes. So I will say the ending was very anticlimactic, and it doesn't ruin the show, right? But it was a lackluster ending where it's like dog, like, okay, yeah, let's plant this cherry blossom tree. Yay, that's it. And then you get you get the credits, but we don't get like an extra few minutes of them actually seeing the wedding that happened and them getting married, right? It's just you get that proposal scene. Like honestly, at that point, I wish the proposal scene was, where where Kudo proposed to Mio. I wish that was just the final scene altogether, right? I feel like that would have been better than this cherry blossom scene. Yeah, yes, it signifies, obviously, Sumi and everything, because the cherry blossom tree from Sumi's past, right? Makes the most sense, right? But personally, if you ask me, I would have either showed the wedding or you just end the show off with that proposal scene and that's it, right? But that's just my take. That's what I would have done. Maybe that's what this new My Happy Marriage show will do. Maybe they'll end it off where we actually do see them getting married, right? So regardless, overall, My Happy Marriage was a really fantastic show. I am again still kind of bummed up that we're not getting to season 3. I rather would have seen a season 3 with a proper, ending with their actual wedding take place, but it is what it is, right? But yeah, but this show was great. It was phenomenal from phenomenal from start to end. The characters were great, and obviously the two leads, and Kudo and Miyo, were fantastic, main characters of this show. And the fact that you saw how both of them being together truly changed each other for the better. And it shows like they were kind of star-crossed lovers that they needed each other to move past any insecurities that they both had, right? And obviously you saw at the end, like, Kudo, he really truly does love Mio, right? And because, he says like he can't live without her, essentially, right? And the same can go said with Mio. You saw how she was very much heartbroken when she was split up from him and she was taken from her. So yeah, but that's basically all I gotta say. So yeah, sorry this video came out months down the road for this review, but hey man, it is what it is. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, hit that subscribe button if you want to get more anime content I upload to the channel, or any other stuff that I decide to do. Again, I made a community post on the channel that basically gives a link to my boy the Red Wolf's channel, because he did a vlog on his channel about Anime Impulse that we attended on Saturday. So if you want my thoughts and our thoughts on how we liked our very first anime convention, and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll probably do like I don't know if I'll do a what did I get at Anime Impulse or whatever. Like, I know I got like a Nicole Zenlazone Zero sticker. I ended up not knowing what to do with it. I ended up putting it up on my PlayStation 5, right? So that's the thing. Maybe maybe one of these days I'll do maybe for Anime Expo or something like that. Or maybe another anime convention I go to. Maybe I'll do like kind of an unboxing of what I ended up actually getting, right? So yeah, but anyways, that's all I gotta say. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts, and hit that subscribe button if you want to get more anime content I upload to the channel. Until then, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your Labor Day. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.